Okay, so, we've now come up to an awesome session ahead of us with Vani Kola, who is the grand dame of Indian venture capital. She was not just that, but she's an entrepreneur too. And I think, previous generations built scaled out companies in various areas. So, she's both an entrepreneur and an outstanding investor. So we're glad to have her. We have her in conversation with one of India's most outstanding new age entrepreneurs, and Bhavish Aggarwal of Ola. And Bhavish, I first met you at Tech Sparks in Whitefield. And unfortunate for me, at the end of that presentation, you sent me your deck, and something happened, and Rehan invested, and it was ages ago. And so it's one of those missed portfolios, whatever, anti-portfolio opportunities. At that time itself, you laid out your vision, and to be frank, it was a little different then, but you stuck with mobility. And so I always look forward to your tweets, because now I have to scan and zoom it in to see, oh my God, that's so big. It's, because it's like you're building most of us, kind of want to build the product of the future. You're building the factory of the future. So, with that, I'd like to welcome both of you on stage to share with us and your ecosystem, your thoughts on where we're headed in the future. So, welcome Bhavish, welcome Vani.
This works? Yeah? Okay. Well, let's not talk about anti-portfolio today. I think we should talk about something better. But Bhavish, I think of you as the OG of entrepreneurship, okay? Because when you started, it was a very different time. And when I see someone like you who has continued to self-invent yourself, first and foremost, right? 10 years, but it feels longer because of all the things that you have achieved. So what makes Bhavish Bhavish? Because you could have been just happy with, Ola transport that you were doing, but kahan se kahan, right? So what makes you tick like this?
Vani, firstly, thank you so much for doing this. I was really looking forward to this. Thank you, Ty, for having this event. Really excited to be back at TIE. I think I was last at a TIE event pre-COVID. And I think in the middle we didn't do a few events in COVID. So really excited to be here. And Vani, I very vividly remember our first interaction. I don't think I've told you this, but I remember somebody introduced us 2012, 2013, and I was so excited, anxious about meeting I forgot the word you used for Vani, but
old. That just means old, but I'll take it.
And then I went and pitched to her, and then she gave me so much feedback. I took a month to ingest that feedback. But to your question, Vani, I feel we in India, my generation especially, are living in such an exciting time. This is India's moment. This is truly India's few decades ahead. Till 2047, when we become a 100-year-old independent company, this is our generation's opportunity to build. And not just opportunity, this is our destiny. And our purpose, many times when people talk to me, other entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, they say work-life balance and all, and I say, हमारे तकदीर में work-life balance नहीं लिखा है. हमारे तकदीर में लिखा है, हमें संघर्ष करना है और हमें देश के इस opportunity में अपना हाथ बटाना है. Right? And that's what drives, I think, our generation of entrepreneurs. And when you look at it with that perspective, you couple that with the kind of technological change and convergence and opportunity that is being created. And you see there's just so much to do. And technology today is not just about digital. Digital is one of the technologies, but energy is changing. Climate change is one of our generation's most important challenges and hence paradigms. Computing is changing. We've seen what early glimpses of AI can do, and this is the start of the AI revolution. Space, yesterday, right? These are the technologies of the future. And our generation has to really build into this future, and there's nothing more exciting to drive you and get sleepless nights.
You said work-life balance, and lots of people say you are a very tough guy to work for, right? And you have heard that before. And I think the key is to know your leadership style and hire the people that thrive and are inspired working with you, right? And oftentimes we feel like we have to fit into a certain paradigm. We don't have to prove we are easy or tough to work with. It's just what it is, right? Results and outcomes matter. And you have delivered phenomenal results. So the question though is, how do you kind of, first and foremost, make peace with your own sense of leadership style? And then how do you look for those people that thrive with you to build your vision and be inspired by that versus, you know, my work-life balance or whatever?
Vani, that's a question I have personally struggled with myself about trying to be able to articulate my own passion in a way that the team that I build also relates to it. And you know, I think predominantly, like we were discussing backstage, the most important job of an entrepreneur is to inspire the team and to inspire the ecosystem around him or her, right? And over the years, as I've personally matured, I've also realized that you have to hire a kind of team which gels well with your company's culture, right? And each company is unique. There's no one standardized system in the world, this way or that way. Each company is unique, each founder is unique, their journeys are unique. So we've realized over the years that we are on a purpose-driven journey. And those kind of people who also, you know, in Hindi I call it जज्बा और जुनून, right? जिन लोगों में जज्बा और जुनून है, वो हमारे साथ बहुत अच्छा काम करते हैं. And it's not an easy journey. I personally didn't choose this path of entrepreneurship either for short-term money or for an easy ride. And if you want to have a big long-term goal, it will be harder, and you want to assemble a team around you which relates to that well. And I've gone through my own journey of mistakes in finding the fitment in people, but today obviously I have some scars. And I'm not saying I'm there yet, but we will continue to evolve. And I think in general, the notion of culture also got a little twisted over the last decade into a certain direction. And you can see it getting unraveled and untwisted now. Because the 2010s were a period of general excess in the global entrepreneurship or global investing entrepreneurship startup world because of the general easy money that flowed in after the 2008 crisis. As a result, money was easy and the value of money was lesser, and hence things like culture as an end goal in itself became important. And this might be a contrarian point of view to the room, but I'll still say it. Right? I have to be honest with myself. But today, my belief is the only culture that matters is which delivers impact for your organization. And it might be different organization to organization. And we see as markets have become more realistic, there is a focus on objectivity, there's a focus on outcomes, and there's a focus on excellence. And excellence is, I believe, the right input to deliver the outcome. And for excellence, you need to, excellence is not a natural human trait. It needs to be driven through an organization, through some kind of structure.
So Bhavish, you've grown from the founder that I saw to the leader that you are today, right? From idea of, I don't say a simple company, but it's a simple idea any of us can conceive, right? Let's just change mobility, transportation. To today you have 4 companies, and from batteries to silicon to obviously the EV, which has been phenomenally successful for you, to so forth. So I'm still go back to the original question. What sort of makes you go and reinvent like this? What is it about you, and what can other founders take from continuing to find that journey to leadership, find not that one company, but continue to innovate and reinvent their own companies?
For the audience, if I just take a minute to explain how we are building the future at Ola. So we started off with our ride-hailing business 13 years ago now. 2010 is when we began. And we are the leaders in India. It's a very profitable business for us. And around that, we are building a few future consumer trends. We're thinking of leveraging ONDC, etc. So that's our consumer business. Then about 4 years ago, we started Ola Electric. And the mission with Ola Electric is very simple, or the purpose of Ola Electric is very simple. For the world to solve climate change, and climate change is one of our generation's most important imperatives, and we need to find solutions to it. For the world to solve climate change, you will not do it by selling luxury vehicles in the West. I'm sure nobody in this room believes you will solve climate change by selling luxury vehicles in the West. India is 20% of the world. India is going to be 30, 40, 50% of the future growth. So to solve climate change, we in India have to build a future paradigm of clean energy and of sustainability across energy and across automotive. And that was our mission. India, being 20% of the world, is also a great microcosm for what we call the rest of the world. Southeast Asia, Africa, Latin America, even parts of the developed world like Europe, etc. And hence, an Indian paradigm for the future of energy, for the future of automotive with electric, is going to be the leading global paradigm in due course. It is not there today, but that's the purpose with which we build Ola Electric. Right? And we're on that journey. We made a start with our electric scooters, and we're expanding that. So that's where Ola Electric comes in. And then while building Ola Electric, we realized that it's not just enough to build the electric vehicles, because the vehicles are the end product. But the fundamental technological shift is the cell. Just like in the ice era, and we say we are ending ice age, but in the ice era, the fundamental paradigm was the internal combustion engine, and before that steam, etc. Right? So these technological paradigms created the industrial revolutions and the world we live in today. The future paradigm of energy in the current paradigm of petroleum is one of mining and refining. But energy in the future paradigm of renewables, of lithium-based storage, etc., is one of material sciences and technology of generational advancements. Every few years, you will get a better technology of how to store, how to be more efficient. And we need to build that technological capability, supply chain, and manufacturing here in India. So that's a third business that we set up. And most recently, we've just started our journey into the whole world of computing. Because the next, if you look at the next 2-3 decades, what happened in the last 3 to 4 decades in computing, and we're all in Bangalore a huge beneficiary of it, but it's not even the tip of the iceberg of what will happen in the future. If you look at the Indian economy, in the Indian economy, per capita consumption of computing is probably maybe $3 to $4 a year. That's it. Or maybe slightly higher, $5, sub $10. It's nothing. AI will reduce the cost of computing, increase what kind of benefits computing can deliver to all of us. It'll impact all industries, and we in India need to have our own full stack computing platform. Today we don't have. All of us use cloud computing from a non-Indian company. We use silicon from a non-Indian company. We are now, many of us in the ecosystem are building AI applications on top of ChatGPT. And AI, even more so than the first wave of digitization, will be a strong cultural appropriation tool. So very important for us to have our own trained models on our own data. Our problems of alignment are different from the problems of alignment of the West. We don't have the same challenges, we have our own challenges. And we have to have our own debates in forums like these and beyond about what kind of AI and computing technologies we need to build. So this is, sorry for the slightly longer digression, but this is
the most important part.
This is what we at Ola are doing. And Vani, I get asked sometimes, and part of your question is also, what drives all of this? Why are we doing all of this? I really feel these are the major technology themes of the future. And India is such a vibrant place to build into these future themes. And we are so lucky to be young in this age in India when our economy is starting to inflect. We have capital, we have demography, we have not just demography, young people. And then young people are very important because young people are so willing to adopt new things. You'll go to some population countries which are aging, you can't even sell digital payments there. People don't even want to use digital payments. Whereas here, people want to adopt new things like this. So, and we have talent. The world's semiconductor talent is here in Bangalore, but they're not working on Indian problems. So this is the moment for actually entrepreneurs to be more imaginative than what the last 10 years we've been. Right? And I like to feel, Vani, that sapne to aise dekhne chahiye jo zindagi mein pure na ho. Right?
Yeah. 15th August actually, talking about culture, PM Modi talked about democracy, demographics that you talked about, and diversity, right? And you stand out uniquely in terms of having, what, 3,000 women in your factory, right? And, right? So, and I think it's amazing. I want to hear more about that. It's a topic that really inspires me whenever I've read what you're doing in that. It's somewhat a little counterintuitive to a tough, hard company kind of a thing, you know. But so there is that side of really changing people's lives. So tell us more. Was that easy to do? Was that hard to do? Can others do it also? Is it something unique to what you're doing?
So for more context for everybody, our factory, the EV factory that we've set up on the outskirts of Bangalore in Krishnagiri, is a 100% women factory. Normally, thank you. Normally in manufacturing, you would find women workforce in electronics, because that is not heavy manufacturing. You know, you'll sit on a table, you have to put chips or LEDs, etc. on a board. That's where you might find women. But in automotive, world over, there is no example of an all-women factory. And when we were thinking of setting up our factory 2 years ago, we had this big discussion, strategy session with our HR team, saying, you know, what kind of male-female ratio should we have? So people brought proposals, okay, 20% women, or we'll make the automated line women. And, you know, you might remember at that time there was the Women's Cricket World Cup going on, right? And the Indian cricket team did really well in that. And we were all, as Indian citizens, very excited. So something, you know, in the team, we all got inspired to say, why can't we have it all women? And nobody knew how to do it, because it was not ever done before. And then we just said, we will make it all women. And then after that, we realized it is hard to make it all women. And especially, this is not like 100, 200, this is 3,000 girls already. And as our factory is expanding, it'll get to, and at full capacity, it'll get to 20,000 women, maybe in the next 2-3 years. So,
you should organize for all of us a trip to your factory.
Absolutely. No, I would love to take whoever wants to go there. But then the reason, while the inspiration was a spur of the moment inspiration, but the reason we ended up doing it and deciding to do it is, in India, we have a lack of women workforce participation in our economy, and we all know that. It's not so in other countries, like in East Asia, even in the West, there is enough women participation in the workforce. But in India, we don't have, and we end up blaming, unfortunately, the woman. That, oh, no, the woman has to take care of wife, husband and child and all home, and, you know, can they do it all? Answer is yes, they can do it all. You know, the issue is not with them. The issue is with, frankly, I would say, my peers, who have just not been imaginative enough and risk-taking to just do it. It'll be harder in the beginning because that ecosystem doesn't exist. You will have to find them. You will have to convince their families. They will convince their families. But, you know, today when I go on the line, and the women in our factory, they call themselves the lionesses of Ola. Because they're so passionate, and these are young girls, all of them are engineering graduates or diplomas. Without this job that they got, they would have been married off, they would have had a life without working, they would have not had the opportunity to build self-respect and self-confidence that they had. And the kind of stories that they share, they're all young girls, 20, 23, 24, you know, fresh out of college. And when I work with them on the factory floor, they say, sir, we will solve it, you go sit on the side.
I'm very proud of what you have done there, and you know, the request was not frivolous. We would all love a chance to come and see this in action. Yeah,
we will definitely plan that.
So, and but on a maybe frivolous note, as a dog lover, I really was laughed when you introduced Bijli. Okay, his first canine employee of Ola, Bhavish's dog, right? And that's was so unexpected. But the question there was for me, you know, we have always had dogs in our family, and they have shaped many reflections for me. So, for you as a leader, what, if anything, have you learned from your dogs?
That's not a frivolous question at all, Vani, because animals teach you so much empathy. And I have learned this actually from my wife, Raj, who's here today. She is a big animal lover, and not just a lover, but big time into animal concerns, if I say so broadly. I was afraid of dogs 10 years ago. I would run away from them whenever they were around. But now we have 2 dogs at home. We also have this policy in Ola that all our offices, we have rescues. So in our corporate office, we have about 10 rescues, street rescues we just adopt, and they roam around the whole building. Bijli, who you mentioned, she's the unofficial mascot of Ola Electric. She's a rescue also, 3-month-old puppy. And she gets us so many views on Instagram. It's a free marketing, right? So I just pose with her and she gets the views. I think the broader point is there is the broader emotion of empathy. You can learn from dogs and animals and all kinds of animals actually. There's this thing of many of us would be pet owners and all. We feel we have to train the dog, but actually no, we have to train ourselves to understand the dog, right? Because they talk, but just talk in a different language.
Now, all of us yesterday were probably glued to TV or live stream of some sort, and what a proud moment it was, right, for the Vikram lander to get to the South Pole. So and I see Bhavish in space. So 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, what's your bet?
On India's journey in space?
So your journey.
In space?
Yeah. In whatever form, I mean, you have done all this, so what next, right? The final frontier.
Yeah. No, firstly, what an inspirational day yesterday. I think the whole nation was inspired. And that's the kind of times we are living in. Sometimes in our daily lives, we might not realize these, when we look back 30 years hence on this time, we will all, remember these were inspirational times. And these were times when momentous things were happening while we were going about our daily lives. So I think the broader takeaway for me personally was that in our own lives, our generation has to really focus on moonshots. This was ISRO's moonshot and hence India's literal moonshot. But across the board, we have to dream big. We have to focus on the next big moonshot in our own industries. And this is the time when we have the capital, we have the talent, we have the dream. We have to put in the hard work and just do it. And now, moonshots can be beyond space also.
I don't know what's beyond space right now, but whenever we discover that, maybe we end up in a black hole. I don't know. So, but going back to just the early journey that founders go through, almost all of them tell me that they, get stressed about board meetings. In fact, we had made a recent investment actually in a space company, as it happens to be, but I went for my first board meeting and he said, I was so scared of this first board meeting. I watched YouTube videos to see how I should conduct a board meeting, which is, great. You do whatever you can to prep, but you love board meetings, hate board meetings?
I love the right kind of board meetings.
Yeah. Do they ever happen? Are there any right kind of board meetings that happen?
If you have the right board members, they're the right kind of board meetings. But I think it's the entrepreneur's responsibility to get the right kind of board members and get the right board dynamic. And there, my own perspective has always been you need a blend of both investors as well as non-investment senior professionals from the world, right? So, for example, on all our boards, we've had very senior global leaders on our boards, which has helped me grow as a leader. And sometimes, young entrepreneurs make the mistake of only having an investor-only board because investors ask for a board seat formally basis their investment. And then you'll lose out on building a broader perspective. And if you have a more balanced board, you're able to have the right kind of conversations on and off the board.
So, future of energy, green hydrogen, nuclear, or something else, what are you betting on?
I'll take them one by one because this is a very interesting topic close to my heart. And actually, even one level more abstract, broadly, so Vani, one thing which I feel we all, and this room and beyond, have to do a lot more is to have a lot more strategic conversation around technology in India. If you look at the conversation around energy in other economies like the US, China, even Europe, it's at a different level. If you look at the conversation around AI, we are very early in our journey in having those strategic conversations. So with that note, I think these conversations are very important. So coming back to your point on green hydrogen and nuclear fusion, I presume you're talking about, or micro reactors and fission. My bet is on renewable energy generation, solar. The sun is there; it's a very abundant source of solar energy. Today's solar technologies harness about mid 20% of the sun's energy that falls on the surface of the solar cell. There are technologies which will take that to 30%, 40% over the next decade. So we can harness the sun's energy very well. And what you need to do with that is you need to store it. And we have storage technologies which are improving. Lithium, sodium is coming on, etc. So the combination of that, I believe, is going to be the predominant future. There will be niche applications for gasoline also. There's going to be niche applications for green hydrogen. Green hydrogen, for example, we've had a lot of conversation in the Indian public domain. My belief is it's right for static use cases. But if you want to use green hydrogen for mobile use cases, like automotive, and automotive is a large part of the overall energy consumption basket, it won't work because you use electricity in electrolysis to generate hydrogen, and then you have a series of steps to transport it into the car under compression. Each step has losses, and in the car, you do the reverse process in a fuel cell of generating electricity by using hydrogen. So it's a way of transporting electricity, essentially. And the most efficient way of transporting electricity was invented 100 years ago. It's called the grid. Right? But there is a use case for green hydrogen in static industrial applications. You can generate it right there and use it in these big industrial installations that you need. Nuclear fusion, there's a lot of chatter, especially in the West, on nuclear fusion. As a technology end goal, it's brilliant, it's needed, and it's not yet there. There's a lot of work required to really bring it into consumable, productizable form. But my belief is when it comes, it'll be just too costly for everyday use, or even in any kind of large-scale applications. It might be useful for niche applications. Maybe nuclear fission microreactors will be more relevant if you want to power an island and you don't have enough land area for doing solar. You might use a microreactor nuclear fission. But otherwise, in general, I believe renewable generation, wind and solar, coupled with storage, lithium storage or other formats of storage is the future.
So, Neo Mint, Millennial Pink, Coral Red. Your favorite color?
My favorite color is Midnight Blue.
What's up with these names? These are, by the way, names of their EV bikes in case you haven't. And all of them have like really, really cool names, kind of like crayons. And maybe both, I'm losing the audience here by talking about the color of crayons and talking about color of EVs. But, I just don't know from where you came up with these names. How does that process work?
I think the naming system is simple, just it should be relevant to a 10-year-old. Yeah.
Who's not riding the bike, but is going to influence the dad or mom to buy that.
Even if he or she doesn't influence, we're all 10-year-olds inside us. Yeah. The name should not add cognitive overload on our mind.
It did for me. I was like, Midnight Blue, Coral Red, you will have to now visualize this. But cool names and cool colors, by the way. Loved it. So, but why Midnight Blue?
I like the dark.
Oh gosh! Do we have another session? Remember that. He likes the dark. We are going to have a conversation on that someday. We really need to. So, okay. There's no one from media here, so don't worry. So, what's your advice dealing with the media? Remain neutral, become friends, ignore them.
Oh, I have had my share of ups and downs with the media. I have learned that just be yourself. Be who you are. I am like this. I have an opinion on things, and I want to share my opinion. Media has their own objectives, business models, and in some cases, agendas. We have to live with it. All media is not the same. There are a lot of very good journalists who have nation's interest, who have objectivity, genuine, the facts and the fair reporting in mind. With them, you have to engage with in a certain way, and you have to build a relationship with those guys. And thankfully, that is still the vast majority. But there are some business models which rely on clickbait. There are some business models which rely on sensationalizing things. And the easiest thing to attack is the up-and-coming person versus those who are established. So yeah.
So you are 37, if I'm not wrong. From your own expectation, have you overachieved or underachieved?
There's a lot of dreams to be fulfilled, Vani. And like I said, I want to live with the motto that the dream should be such that they're never fulfilled. And you want to keep growing in what you can do. And I do feel we have achieved something, but we are still at the very early days of what the opportunity is here in India. And we are so lucky to be in the land of opportunity in India at this time.
I want to see a decade from now what conversation we can have. I'd be excited about it. We have time for maybe 2 questions from the audience, but wait, I'm not done. So before that, because we have this unique opportunity to be with Bhavish and his birthday is coming up next week, let's just sing happy birthday for him. Yeah? So we'll celebrate that in our own way with him. So shall we? Yes. You're doing what next? Oh, you are felicitating, so we'll do that next. Okay, then we may have time for 3 questions. So, one in the back, one here, one there. So, let's start with the back.
How did you find my birthday, Vani?
There is a thing called Google.
Hi, Bhavish. This is Saurabh from Avas Media.
Hi.
It's to be your
28th
media agency
August,
as
by
well.
the way, sorry.
It's to be your media agency as well. My question is...
Unfortunately, we don't buy much media.
Yes, exactly. Till now, you have not been buying much media. You are doing fantastic on social media, and from negative to positive, we have seen all the journey with you. Yeah. But do you think this is sustainable with the minds which you are working with? You're dealing with a judge, Rwanda, etc. And who believe it completely opposite? So, what's your point of view on that?
The future is different than the past always, as a macro statement, obvious statement if I can make. And I really believe the future of getting your message out as a brand is not necessarily going to be one of only relying on traditional advertising. Consumers have changed, consumers have become smarter, there are more platforms, and I think if you look at it from a consumer point of view, right? Consumer wants a genuine, honest brand and an honest, genuine face to the brand. And that's what has been working for us. We are honest with our consumers, we have a direct relationship with our consumers. I have a direct relationship with the consumers over different platforms, and that gets the message out. And we speak in the consumer's language. Literally so, on 15th August, we literally spoke in 6 languages in parallel. Right? Jisko Hindi mein sunna hai, jisko Marathi mein sunna hai, jisko Telugu mein sunna hai, with our own AI. Some of you might have seen that. So there is a place for advertising, absolutely. And we have found our own balance on that for our today's business context. Maybe as we evolve, we will have a different place for that. But predominantly, the paradigm is different now than the past. The paradigm is not of making those same kind of ads and same, that's not the paradigm anymore. Consumers want to connect with the purpose of the brand, and they want to feel part of the journey of the brand, and the product and the communications and the face all are what makes the consumer feel trust and feel connected.
Thanks a lot. Talks a lot about meaning to media.
You can give the other mic over here for the next
Hi,
question.
good evening. So since you touched upon climate change, I wanted to know your views as an industry insider on how do you feel how skewed the ESG metric is. For instance, operationally speaking, the green energy is carbon negative, but when you consider the whole product life cycle, especially the manufacturing, for example, for solar cells you need silica, and then for lithium you need to mine lithium, and so all those are again processes based on fossil fuels. So overall picture, we are still emitting carbon at a very high rate. So what are your views on that, and how do you plan to solve this?
It's a good question and an important discussion to have in the general public domain to understand the facts versus the FUD, right? FUD you understand, right? Fear, uncertainty, doubt. And there's a lot of FUD created by incumbent industries across this. If you look at the basic math of the green economy, there is some processes you need to do to mine the lithium, etc., the nickel, the iron, which makes the cells. And then they consume energy, electricity, and the electricity comes from some format, either coal or gas or renewables, right? Now, today, with today's energy mix and today's mining, by the way, you don't necessarily need fossil fuels, you need energy, so electricity or whatever way electricity would be generated. The same electricity mix impacts the mining also. So today's energy mix, EVs versus ICE in India, EVs are significantly better. I would say 30 to 50% better. The numbers might vary state to state, category to category, over the life cycle. when you look at the future, with lithium batteries, soon you will start seeing, and it's already happening in countries where there is enough deployment of EVs, there's a very strong circular economy. You don't need to keep mining the lithium. You recover it, you recover the batteries, you extract the lithium and the precious metals from it. You can get 90% extraction with today's technologies. Over time it will go to 95+%, and then you put that back into your circular economy. So the amount of incremental mining after you reach a certain steady state will be much lower. Plus the mining techniques in lithium, etc., are also very quickly getting more energy efficient. So overall, the eventual state will be where your grid is all renewables generated, your mining technologies are much more advanced, and you have a circular economy. This is the future we all have to build towards. And this future is not more than 2 decades away. But if we have to do that hard work today onwards.
It's our lifetime.
All of our lifetime, yeah.
So last question here.
I have one.
Okay,
Sorry.
then that's the last question.
Yeah.
So unless Guru Raj says otherwise.
We can take 2 questions maybe. One.
Oh, you convince him. I'm happy to sit with you the rest of the evening.
My question is for you. So how do you manage loneliness as an entrepreneur? And what is the one advice for 22-year-old entrepreneur who is building?
Marry the right person. And with that, I really want to ask Raju to come here. And no, really, you're here, please. No, I let Bhavish answer, but since you're 22, right? Finding the right partner in your life is one of the best decisions you're going to make as a founder, because you can't have chaos both at home and at work, okay? You pick one or the other. Either you work for an MNC and have chaos at home. I mean, better don't have chaos anyway, but I can tell you that I couldn't have done anything I did without my family support, and that I think is very, very important. Not that it's guaranteed, and we should not take it for granted also when we are given that. But he'll answer, but I want her to come here. What do you think? Yeah, about it. Why is he able to do all this that you do? Advise that young boy.
Just my 2 cents. I don't know if I've said this enough before, but I sort of fully buy in, and I'm not biased when I'm saying this, into the vision that he has, right? And I'm sure many others sitting in this room also relate to that. And I feel when someone is so incredibly clear about what he needs to do to take the country where it needs to go and put us on the map, all of us need to sort of participate in some way, right? And I feel truly incredibly honored and blessed to be part of that journey in whatever little way I can. And I mean, that's how I see it. And I also say this in jest, saying, if you try pulling him away from doing what he loves, he'll make life miserable for you. So you might as well participate in doing what he's doing and keep him happy. You want to add anything?
No, like Vani said, marry the right person.
Hi, Bhavish. Shall I?
Rajlakshmi, please stay with us on stage as we felicitate Bhavish. Bhavish, thank you for being present here today, but more important for being kind of an inspiration with your relentless entrepreneurship, your audacious dreams that really set the bar incredibly high, okay? In a way, Chandrayaan has landed on the moon, but you set the bar high for entrepreneurs too, for founders. Thank you, Vani, for being here. Please join us as we felicitate Bhavish. And Bhavish, last year you received the Spirit of Thai Award. We were not able to have you that day, so we'd like to do that today. Rani, your turn will come a little later. So, no. So I also want to invite Madan Padaki. Where's Madan? And Priyanka and Ankur. Priyanka and Ankur, please join us as well. Our co-hosts for India Internet Day. Please welcome them as well. Sorry, I have one more person. Mr. Rana Barua, he's here. Please join us on stage. From the Havas Group. And I also want to take this opportunity. To thank our sponsors for the Speaker Awards, the Good Glam Group, and Sikora Hygiene. So I hope I got that right.
Yes, so let's get the Lakshmi. We have a traditional.
Yeah. Data.
There we go.
That's a little much. Huh?
So now we sing happy birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bhavish. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.